she's up to, and I'll try. I've got to stand, not sure where.
Basically, with the stripe behind you.
Stripe behind me.
You can feel it. You can feel it with your back if you
If I
want
go
to.
like this, it doesn't mean I'm waving.
It means I've got to
Move
move.
back.
Yes, way back. Oh, what did you want? This is the first something you wanted. So I've been, as Tina said, I've been a homeopath now for about 20 years. I got into it really quite one of those routes, that you're being guided. And because my husband was diagnosed with a condition called sarcoidosis, we had no idea what that was. He just went along to the doctor, had a chest x-ray, had big lumps in his chest. I thought, oh my goodness, he's got cancer or something horrid. And we followed the route to get it diagnosed. And they said, no, it's sarcoidosis. And sarcoidosis is when you meet the TB bug, but you don't get TB of the chest, and it comes out somewhere else. So really the doctors had no options. They said, well, it will last 6-10 years. If it goes to your eyes or if it goes to your brain, then we suggest you have some steroids, but otherwise there's nothing we can do. And so I said, okay, well, why don't you try homeopathy? Now, at this point I wasn't a homeopath. I had bumped into homeopathy when I was a midwife, but I had never actually even taken a remedy myself. So we found this homeopath, really nice guy in Sutton, and the first remedy he took, he didn't really feel anything. He went back for his follow-up appointment, and we sort of talked about it a bit more depth, because that's what happens within homeopathy. You make the best prescription you can. The consultations take about an hour and a half, but there are thousands and thousands of remedies to choose from, and you make the best prescription you can see from what the person's told you. When people come back for their follow-up appointment, if it hasn't actually shifted or moved things, then you make adjustments. There'll be a related remedy. And when we realised at that point that we'd heard that it was an abnormal response to TB bug, so the homeopath said, well, let's give you the TB bug. Because homeopathic remedies can be made from actually almost anything. So there are quite a few remedies that come from the plant kingdom, the mineral, the periodic table, but there's also quite a few that were actually made from things like poisons or even diseased tissue, and that is actually what tuberculinum is made from. It's actually made from, this is where people start getting a bit grossed out about it, but I could just feel the energy in the room shifting. The way that we can use that sort of stuff is because how it's prepared in the pharmacies. So I don't make my own remedies. I buy them all from authorised homeopathic pharmacies. So when they take a diseased tissue, they dilute it and change it, and then they give it to us in a form where we can actually prescribe it. And my husband is an accountant, or he was an accountant. He was very mainstream. Now he's come with me a long way, because I've taken him through lots of energetic experiences. But at the time, very mainstream. So he took these remedies because he wasn't given anything from the doctor anyway. So he thought, what have I got to lose, really? And he said he took the first dose of tuberculine. He was supposed to have 3 in a day. Took the first one, didn't notice any. Took the second one and went, whoa, I felt something change. And then he took the last one. Now he had private healthcare, so we were being followed up by his private doctor. 3 months after he went for he'd had his homeopathy, he had a second chest x-ray. Now the first one, there had been these big solid lumps all around the centre of his chest, all around his heart and all the big blood vessels and things. This time his chest was totally white, and I really panicked because I thought, oh my, what have I done? Because a white chest, when you have a chest should be clear. You shouldn't have any white bits in it. And his whole chest was white, and I thought, oh no, I've fibrosed his lungs, he's done all this, what are we going to do? Anyway, the doc was sort of, oh, okay, things have changed. We'll see you in 3 months' time, because he didn't do anything. He couldn't do anything. He didn't really want to give him steroids at that point. 3 months later we went back, so this was 6 months in total. His chest was totally clear. There wasn't any sign of the sarcoidosis at all. And the doctor went, oh, oh, it must have been the wrong diagnosis. No, you tested him. You definitely said it was there. And so we went, okay, well, I don't need to see you again. So we then heard of people who'd had sarcoidosis that lasted 6, 10 years or was ill. So that was me, and I thought, oh, there might be something in this homeopathy thing. What I was really annoyed about is that it was private healthcare, but we didn't keep the x-rays. I was so frustrated. Because there would be my sort of, I could show people, but it gave me confidence. So when I was actually looking to leave the health service, I thought, okay, I might go and give homeopathy a try. I found this, I'd been getting to that stage when I was actually beginning to develop ideas about health that were getting just a bit out of line with mainstream. And people were just beginning to look at me a bit sideways and go, well, I know that she's quite sensible and I know she's quite practical, but she does say some strange things sometimes, you know. And one of my bosses actually said to me, Yvonne, if anybody else had ever said that to me, I'd have sectioned them. Okay, I'm definitely getting a bit out of the norm. So I went along to homeopathy college and they all went, yes, we agree, that's true. And I went, oh, I've come home. And I then started a homeopathic course. It's 4 years long. It's part-time, you go once a month for 4 years. And you're trained to the level of, it's a degree level, but you're trained to the level of around a GP. Because you have to meet people who are coming to you and you've got to be able to say to them, what's wrong with you? Do you definitely need to go to the doctor, the hospital? Can I treat you? You've got to be able to do that. You can't, it's a big responsibility. The way homeopathy started was actually about 200 years ago with a German doctor called Samuel Hahnemann. And he was, as a young child, was very intelligent. And they actually said he was German. And his father decided that he would train him to think properly. So he would give him a problem and then lock him in a room until he solved it. So he learned to think for himself. And he got to university at a young age and decided to study medicine. And then within a few years went out to practice. But within 10 years, he actually decided, I can't be a doctor anymore. Because what was happening, it was sort of the end of the 1700s, early 1800s. And of course, they had substances that had effect on people, but they had horrendous side effects. Or they didn't work at all. And he said, I can't cope with this, I'm here to help people. I can't have them getting ill or not being effective. So he stopped practicing. But of course, by this stage he had a family, so he had to keep his family supported. So he became a translator, and he went around and got commissions to translate all the medical texts he could find. But because he was of that type of person, as well as translating, he added his own thoughts in. So he added in his own footnotes to all these books and articles of what he understood was actually going on. How are we doing on time?
No, that's fine.
It's fine.
Karen, you're
And so he added in all these footnotes, but he also gave him the opportunity to explore all the medical texts that were around at that time and actually come to some decision about what he believed was actually going on. And it was actually in, I think it was 1790, he was looking at a book called Cullen's Materia Medica, which at the time was the one where they were looking at all the herbs and the herbs that were in use. And he was translating it. And he came across this entry for a thing called cinchona bark. Cinchona bark was known to be a treatment for malaria. And in Cullen's it said, it works in malaria because it's a tonic for the stomach. And he thought, I don't think so. There's got to be another reason. So what he decided to do, because he was scientific and he was German and he'd been trained properly, was he decided to experiment on himself. So I'll read you what he did. So he said he made himself up a 5 drams of good china, and he took it twice a day. And he said within a while my feet, finger ends became very cold. Then he grew very languid and drowsy. His heart began to palpate. His pulse was really hard and strong, and he got really, really anxious, trembling, felt prostrated. He got red cheeks, thirsty, and in fact what he got were all the symptoms that were characteristic of intermittent fever, which was the name they called malaria. And they came one after another. The only thing he didn't get were the fevers. And he said these symptoms came, they lasted 2 or 3 hours, and as soon as he stopped taking the substance, they disappeared again. And so he knew, because of his study, that what he was seeing was a very, very old healing law, which was called the law of similars. And even back in Hippocrates' time, they knew that you could treat with the law of similars or the law of opposites. So he realised he was seeing a demonstration of the law of similars. And the reason in Hippocrates that the law of similars went out of fashion is because a lot of the things you want to use might well be a poison. If you get the dose wrong of a poison, you kill people. So it actually became easier to do opposites rather than go with similars. If I give you a couple of examples of the law of similars, the Eskimos know that if you have a frostbite, you put snow on it. Yeah? If you are working in a pizza, if you're working in a pizza parlour and you burn yourself, you're told to put the hand that's burnt in the heat of the oven.
Really?
It's painful. I've done it myself. I haven't actually burnt myself on a pizza oven, but you know you burn yourself cooking and that sort of thing. If you put your hand in hot water or warm water, what you have to do is you have to put your hand in and out because it does get hot. Within about 3 minutes, your whole hand will buzz. It's a weird sensation, and then the pain will go away. I've done it umpteen times.
I will confirm now. I burnt myself severely on my back one year in Germany, and I didn't realise I had. And I went and got in a really hot bath because at that point I just adored hot baths. Literally sunk into it, screamed blue murder, sat up and sunk back down again, and the pain had gone totally. I had no sunburn.
Yeah.
Wow.
It
Sunburn,
really does work.
if you get sunburn, a warm shower, warm to hot shower is the best way to treat it.
Even if you're 2nd or 3rd degree burns?
Well, no, if you're 2nd or 3rd degree burns because you've lost the skin, then you need to treat it differently. But if you're just got, if you've still got an intact skin, then definitely go with it. Yeah.
Because I burned myself scuba diving or
Did you?
diving in Australia, and that was 2nd degree, and I had to go on antibiotic. But then you can't do that, can you? Because it's open.
Yeah. If it's open, you can't. You
It
need
was
to.
so painful.
Yeah.
I would have done anything, but not that then.
Pizza oven. Let's go line at pizza oven.
Try not to get 2nd degree burns.
I know. I was just having t-shirts on
Was it?
all the time,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just by snorkeling, not thinking,
Yeah.
for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
2nd degree.
There are other